January 12, 1993, the Hoosiers and Bob Knight would find themselves in a very compromised position, playing at Ann Arbor against the Chrysler Crazies and the Fab Five. They needed a victory to pull the Big Ten championship out, and they had to do it by beating the Fab Five on the road. I think this was a pivotal game for Indiana in this season. In this video, we'll talk about why Indiana was able to beat the Fab Five 3 out of 4 times. We'll talk about why the Fab Five is not even that fabulous because they never won anything, not a national championship, not a Big Ten championship. Why this Indiana team that they had with Chaney and Henderson and Bailey was more disciplined and better than the Fab Five, and why they beat them. And you'll want to stay tuned to the controversy on this game when they played in Ann Arbor. What happened at the end was baffling, and it still is to this day when I just watched the game. I still don't know what happened here exactly. Maybe it was a technicality. Maybe they paid somebody on the table. This is the coaching genius of Bob Knight against the Fab Five. Thank you for joining me. Let our story begin by learning a little bit about the Fab Five. I know a lot of people know their significance, but for a lot of younger people out there, they don't understand this era of college basketball. In the early 1990s, college basketball witnessed the arrival of a phenomenon that would forever alter its landscape. The University of Michigan's Fab Five, comprising 5 highly touted freshmen, Chris Webber, Jalen Rose, Juwan Howard, Jimmy King, and Ray Jackson. This group burst onto the scene in the 91-92 season under Coach Steve Fisher. Recruited as the top high school prospects in the nation, they represented a bold experiment in youth and talent, starting all 5 as freshmen, a rarity in an era where upperclassmen typically dominated. Their brash style, athleticism, and camaraderie captivated fans, but despite reaching consecutive NCAA championship games, they never claimed the ultimate prize. Their talent and their relentlessness is what made this rivalry with Indiana so good. In retrospect, I look back at the Fab Five and I noticed that they embodied the thrill and tragedy of unbridled potential. They didn't win the big one due to youth, errors, and scandal, but their imprint on the game, fostering inclusivity, excitement, and reform, ensures that they remain icons in the basketball world. But the Indiana Hoosiers had a real team and a real disciplined team, and that is why they beat them 3 out of 4 games. Now, let's look at what the Indiana Hoosiers had on this team leading up to this game and why it was so important for the Indiana Hoosiers and Bob Knight to take this one from the University of Michigan. Look, these Hoosier teams of the early 90s from like 91 until 93 are my favorite to watch of all time. I was born in 82, so this is exactly when I started really getting into the games and everything like that. So these teams, we all know what happened. We all know that Indiana, they had the Valentine game in 91. And then we had Allen Henderson and the knee injury, but by all accounts, these 2 Indiana teams from that span should have won a national championship. It's our 6th banner that we never got, and I don't want to sit here and cry because it's sports and the injuries. By all accounts, this Indiana team is super overlooked in the history of sports because they talk about the Fab Five all the time, and we all know that this Indiana team was much better than them. Why this road game I want to look at so closely is because back then the Big Ten was set up in such a different way. There were 11 teams, so you played each team of the 10 2 times. You played 20 teams in the conference, so it was perfect. There was no conference tournament back then, so these road games against top level opponents were critical. Indiana had 2 losses to number 3 ranked Kansas and a number 2 ranked Kentucky team that year. And so coming into this game, their only 2 losses were against top 5 teams. They needed this victory on the road against Michigan to really have like a leg up in the conference heading into the tournament, and they...
Well, hey, hold up. You don't want to tell them who won the game. Make them watch till the end of the video.
Oh yeah, you're right. Now that we've set the stage on what this game meant for the Indiana Hoosiers, now let's get into talking about the game. Hey, Hey guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you are enjoying the content, hit that thumbs up button. I do have some giveaways on the channel, and even if you are a Michigan fan, I will send you a Michigan sweater or whatever your team name is from Home Field Apparel. So do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button, hit that like button, hype the video, do all that good stuff, and leave your comments down below. I appreciate it so much. Bob Knight would be going for win number 500 in this game at the Chrysler Center on the road. Michigan wasted no time getting right out to a fast break dunk on the first points of the game. But after that, Indiana went on a little spurt, taking an 8-5 lead in the early minutes of this game. Then Michigan would rebound, swinging the lead back, where Michigan took the lead 14-10.
Weber is so quick from the floor and taking the ball to the goal. He has the quickest bounce off the floor, like the Spalding little pink ball.
After Henderson hits a big shot, the Hoosiers would then take the lead back at 20-16. After Leary hits a fast break, left-handed reverse layup on Chris Webber, the game would become knotted up at 20. Many empty possessions went back and forth before the Hoosiers finally started to take command of this game against the Fab Five in the first half.
Excuse me to Brian Evans. Bailey. Puts them in 8 passes to quiet the crowd down. Evans with a 3. Evans with a rebound, and the freshman from Evansville has had a definite impact since coming in. Bailey on the run, picks it up to Anderson. Good penetration, dribble penetration.
The Hoosiers were running when they had to and slowing it down when they had to. Damon Bailey was fantastic, and they took a 31-37 lead into the half. After Greg Graham's steal and a sweet reverse dunk, Michigan would mount their charge to come back on the Hoosiers. Bob Knight famously never called timeout in these types of instances, which drove the fans crazy at times. So Michigan comes right back and ties the game up at 45, and the game would take on a seesaw affair from that point on. The Fab Five, and especially Chris Webber in the second half, started to push the ball inside and use their massive size against the Hoosiers. Both teams were playing hard, tough-nosed defense, and the talent of Michigan was showing up. The game going in a seesaw affair back and forth until it was tied at 58. And the game went back and forth until Damon Bailey gets a block. With 1:10 left, Indiana has the ball and a 1-point lead. Calbert Cheaney then takes the pass and gets trapped. Rarely did this ever happen. He gets trapped in the corner and turns the ball over, giving the ball back to Michigan. But the scrappiness of the defense of Indiana causes the jump ball, and Indiana gets the possession back with 35 seconds left, and they can play keep away to get the final foul shots. This is where the controversy begins.
Just said, are you kidding me?
I don't think they're talking about a lane violation as much as you're talking about you have X number of seconds.
And Phil Bova trying to explain it to Bob Knight.
Don't want to get a technical. I'm confused here, Mike. I'm confused. You have X number of seconds from the time.
Couple of things that could have happened, and Bob Knight is just outraged by this. Michigan has called a timeout.
The Indiana player left the lane.
I think the referee, I'm not sure, but I think he handled the basketball, and an Indiana player left the lane, and that is a violation. I may be wrong. That is one thing running through my mind because I saw some movement. I would love to get the official to get it really here in firsthand, but that is my gut feeling what happened.
My opinion is this. Can you leave the lane after he gives them the ball? No. But if you watch the referee in this instance, most of the time the referee gives the ball to the guy in a regular fashion. The referee kind of like held the ball. A lot of times he'll say, communicate with the people on the line. It was a technicality by the letter of the law, but it was almost set up by the referee. So they got Michigan has the ball back, but Indiana on this last possession plays hard-nosed defense. Henderson gets a block. Cheaney gets a finger on the three-pointer, and Michigan goes out a loser in this game, and it's one of the biggest wins that Indiana ever had in the 90s, beating the Fab Five at Ann Arbor. An awesome game, an impossible game to win, you would think, but with the discipline of Indiana and the way that Bob Knight's teams in this game, they played several different ways. They played fast in the beginning, and they were just able to play hard-nosed defense and stay in this game and gritty down to the finish and get the victory. Thank you so much for everybody for sticking around for the end of the video. My name is Aaron, your residential anchor. Be sure to tip your bartenders, and until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.
Watching them warm up and dunking on, with their flashy warm-ups and the shiny warm-ups, and they're dunking on our baskets. I just remember looking down there, and the thought that I had was the nerve of these guys to come into here and hang on those rims and treat this place like a playground. Like, I remember being mad, like, before the tip, like, who do they think they are? Coming in here, and they're going to get whooped. You can't come in here and win, period. And the confidence that you felt with Coach, with the crowd, with Calvert, Allen, all these great players, we just believed in each other. Like, there's no way they're going to come in here throwing lobs to each other and playing loose and playing free, and, they can't beat us. If we play the way we're supposed to play, our disciplined brand of basketball is going to beat them 10 times out of 10. And so when I see, still to this day when, whoever writes a book or the Fab Five, 30 for 30 comes out, I just, and I'm not a blogger, trust me when I tell you, and I'm not a commenter either on Instagram, but I want to comment and say, and I have typed a few different times.
Between the 7 and 9 minute mark of the first half, the stifling defense of Indiana really got under the skin of Weber, where he got his